Hi friends, it's Rebecca from New Creation. Today I want to share with you a story inspired by a parable that Jesus tells in the Gospel of Matthew about the prodigal son. He takes all the money his dad will give him and goes and spends it all and kind of makes a mess of his life and realizes he actually wants to come home and be with his mom and dad again and his brother. And he does, and of course they say, "Yay, you're home." Well, my story is called The Prodigal Chicken. And there's a little bit of a tense part of this story, and you might feel a little bit worried when I get to it, but I want you to know that the chicken gets home safe. I'll tell you that right away. So that's my spoiler. But this story actually starts 16 years ago when this little guy was born. Now he's this big guy. It's my son. He turns 16 this summer, and he asked for his 16th birthday, could we build a chicken coop? Now, that might sound like fun to you, but it did not sound like fun to me. I'm not really good at building things, and I don't really like chickens. But I love my son, and I wanted to get to spend time with him, and I know he likes chickens and he likes woodworking, so I said yes. And so we started building. First, we built the run. And then we built the coop, which goes on top of the run in the plans that we used. Before we built much more and finished up, we actually bought chicks. That way we knew we would have to finish the project because they'd have to live someplace. So these are the little chicks we brought home from Tractor Supply. This little chick is named Mel. And very quickly we found out that Mel was very bossy. Mel would jump on the other chickens and peck them in the head. Mel would get in their way when they tried to get water. Mel would boss them around and push them around. So Mel had to spend a lot of time in time out. While our little chickens grew, they mostly stayed in the garage in a box with a heat lamp over them. And we were outside building and building and building until the coop got built, and we added a planter. And then during the daytime when it was warm, we could bring the little chicks out and they could hang out in the run while we built. And that's, you see them down there in the run below. We had to work really hard. We built it, we painted it, we had to seal it so the wind wouldn't get in the wintertime. We roofed it. Here is my son shingling it. All for chickens I didn't even like that much. We even added a pull-out clean-out box so that it was really easy to clean out the chicken coop. You just pull this out and you brush all the pine chips down in the hole, and you put like a compost bin to collect them underneath. That way our chickens would always have a tidy little coop. And even though our chickens are too little to lay eggs yet, we put in nesting boxes so they could curl up on their own little beds at night. And we put in curtains because Martha Stewart has curtains for her chickens, and I want my chicken house to be just as nice as hers. Finally, it was all done, and it was time for the chickens to come and live in the coop permanently. We went to the garage to find them and show them their new house. I was so proud of the job we had done. I couldn't wait to show the chickens their new home. But when I went to the garage and looked in the box, there were only 5 chicks, not 6. There was Rosa Luxemburg, there was Peter Kropotkin, there was Tia Fabi, and there were the twins, Nanette and Suzette, but there was no Mel. I knew she was almost big enough to get out of the box. She must have escaped. I searched all over the garage, but I couldn't find her. So I opened the garage door to let in more light, and I still couldn't find her. I was starting to get really worried. I started looking in the yard, and that's when I saw Mr. Mittens, the neighbor's cat. And I was sure I saw a little tuft of yellow feathers right on his mouth. Oh, I was heartbroken. I thought, Mr. Mittens has eaten Mel. I would never forgive him. All my happiness at our hard work and our success, it was gone, just like that. I was so mad at Mel. Why would she run away when we had taken such good care of her and we wanted to give her good things? I went to sleep that night mad. I woke up the next day mad, and I was mad all through the day when I was working in the garage, and at the corner of my eye, I saw something yellow. I yelled for the kids to come and help me find it, and there she was. Mel had come home. In fact, she had never left home. She had hidden someplace in the garage, and she was all dusty and dirty and probably really thirsty because there hadn't been enough water probably for her to find or food for her to eat. But we were so happy she was home, I didn't even care about how angry I'd been anymore. That is the story of a little chicken that was not very grateful, even though she was very loved. How she ran away, and how when she came home, we were all so happy to see her that we just wanted to love her some more. It reminds me of another Bible verse, which I've put up on the screen here. It's kind of an interpretation, a revision of a Bible verse, as well as a picture of what Mel will probably look like when she grows up. It says, "Is not one chick sold for $2.59 at Tractor Supply? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground outside of God's." This verse is a reminder of how much God loves us. God loves every living thing, from people the whole way down to chickens. And when I think about how much I love Mel, and I think God loves me that much, in fact, God loves me even more. I can't even understand how much God loves me. That's how big God's love for me is. And that's how big God's love for you is too.